happy weekend, happy Sunday. I wanted to do another Facebook Live. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was saying that it'd be helpful to post more things to talk about what is coaching. I have a hair, it's bugging me. Okay, anyway. All right, so kind of this, what is coaching? So what I wanted to talk about today is the distinction between counseling and coaching. And I was talking with a client the other day, and he said, wow, this session felt a lot more like counseling. But it really wasn't a counseling session at all, because it was very much dealing with the forward, who he wants to be in the future. It was dealing with some ways that he's getting stuck, but that he very much wanted to transform his perspective and to shift from where he currently was to his potential. So even though it was dealing with some emotional things and it was dealing with some challenging topics for him that were emotional, he was able to focus on where he wanted to be and how to move more to that place. So here's three distinctions that I use, and I'm sure there's many people you could spend a lot of time digging into this topic and have a more academic type of a response. But to me, this is just a very simple distinction that I tend to use when I'm coaching, both for myself and for my clients, as far as is this appropriate coaching or counseling topic. So first of all, coaching tends to be looking forward. We're looking at where you're at now, and it may include pieces from your background to inform us where you're at now or what has shaped you, but it's for the purpose of looking forward into what do you want to create, who do you want to be, where do you want to go. So it's forward, future focused. Counseling tends to be a little bit more backwards looking. Now, again, overlap, fine lines. Some counseling may look more like coaching. Some coaching may look more like counseling. But in general, counseling is looking more backwards. It might be looking, and I don't mean backwards negatively or sarcastically, but it's dealing with what wounds do we have? What hurts and burdens and pains do we have that are really kind of hanging us up and affecting our everyday living and our ability to be happy, healthy, and productive in our world. So generally, counseling looks back, coaching looks forward. Another distinction that I use is kind of the general concept of whole versus broken. And again, don't, totally psychoanalyze and mince those words, but in general, in coaching, we're holding the person as whole, naturally, creative, resourceful, and whole. You don't need to be in coaching. You're just using coaching as a tool and a resource to get you where you want to be. And you are naturally resourceful and capable of going to employ whatever decisions and activities are decided. Versus in counseling, there tends to be more the broken perspective. And again, that's not critical or saying, oh, you're so broken. It's not a negative thing like that. It's just like if your car isn't working and it's broken, you take it into the shop to get it fixed so that it can go out on the road again and be, productive and happy and healthy and moving. So in general, counseling is going to look at a place where we're kind of like our car isn't working anymore. We need to go in the shop. It's not performing well. So a little bit more where we might be emotionally stuck or emotionally paralyzed or just frozen with this concept that keeps repeating again and again and we can't quite shift it. That is going to be better for counseling in order to figure out how are we getting hung up? Why isn't that tire turning? What's going on? Versus in coaching, you have the ability to move forward. You may be figuring something out. You may have a difficult hurdle, something that's very emotional or overwhelming. It doesn't mean that there's not emotions, problems, and challenges that show up in counseling, but in general, there's a wholeness and an ability to move forward. And then the third one is a little bit similar but slightly different, is in coaching, typically you're ready to embrace change. You're constantly holding this a growth perspective of how can I make myself better? How can I do better? I'm seeking to learn and upgrade myself in ways that maybe I was operating at this level. What can I do to take it to the next level? How can I be even better or understand something even deeper? And the things that aren't working, I'm looking to understand how could I change those or reshape a perspective. And typically because of that, we have more of a transforming perspective. We see things that we were doing that really weren't serving us. We identify beliefs that we have that really aren't beneficial. And so we take those perspectives and we transform those in order to move forward to our goals and our objectives. Hey, Jen. And then the last, or in contrast to that, in counseling, typically I see that more as, and again, not negative. Sometimes counseling feels negative to people and it's really not. But counseling tends to be a little bit more, I think, on the regressive. It's when we're getting stuck. So even for myself, if I'm in my own coaching and a coach is helping me with something, and then I stumble on a topic where I just can't quite get past it, and I feel really, stuck in this perspective of the way I saw myself or in a concept or whatever, it's regressive. It takes me to a more challenging place of the way I see myself, my identity, whatever it is. So I kind of regress, and then it consumes my perspective. So somehow I'm not able to move forward because I'm more consumed by this perspective that I'm holding on being stuck. And so that's why it's a really great counseling topic, because in counseling, we want to go in there, we want to understand what's not working, we want to understand where we're hurting and heal those hurts in order so that we can move forward. So typically, or generally, I see counseling as healing, and coaching I see more as inspiring and supporting someone to move forward. And again, there's lots of people who, myself, I have a background in counseling, but I do coaching. There's lots of people who do both counseling and coaching, or people who are counselors that integrate coaching into their practice. So there's lots of overlap, so sometimes it's hard to tell. But if you're sitting there and saying, hey, should I be more in counseling or in coaching? To me, those are three great filters to say, am I ready to move forward? Do I see myself as naturally resourceful, creative, and ready to go? And I'm not sure which way to go and need to figure it out and want a thinking partner, but I'm ready to take action. And am I willing to look at my perspectives and realize that I might have some perspectives that aren't serving me, and I want to transform what's not serving me in order to move forward? If you're holding that perspective, coaching is a great place for you. If you're holding the perspective of like, hey, I'm really hurting, I'm really stuck with this, and I can't seem to let it go, and I feel kind of wounded a little bit, I feel like really hurt, and it's kind of shaping my view of the world, then counseling is a really great tool and a great place to go and look. So they're both so important. I've seen people in counseling and coaching at the same time. Sometimes people get really into a topic and they go and do counseling and then they move to coaching, or sometimes they're coaching and then they discover something that's holding them back and then they go back to counseling. So there's no right or wrong. Counseling is not bad. Sometimes people opt for coaching because they feel like counseling has some stigmas that are negative, and they're like, oh, I don't want to be in counseling. And so they see it as so bad. And so then they opt for coaching. But really, you want to counsel for those reasons that we talked about, and you want to coach for those reasons that we talked about, so you can experience the freedom from both. So that's it. And I see Jennifer. Hey, Jen, good to see you too. And Lindsay, thank you. All right, thanks guys for joining me. My battery's gonna die, and but I wanted to jump on real quick. Oh, look at, now my lighting went bad. Okay, I'm gonna run. You guys, thanks for joining. Bye.